I now have the ability to fire a ridiculous amount of super sticky web fluid. Now, no, I didn't develop this ability spontaneously while sitting in a cafeteria, and no, I didn't tweak some super secret web fluid formula when I should have been paying attention in chemistry class. But I did spend a ton of time in my basement building an awesome web shooter device that utilizes a substance that we all already know and love: hot glue. Over the last year and a half, I've actually made 3 different videos about shooting hot glue. And in the process of making those videos, I learned that not only can it be fired at a good distance, but that it actually has a superhuman sticking ability when you use a lot of it. That's why in this video, not only am I going to demonstrate this crazy amount of super sticky strength, but I'm also going to show you how I built this thing to be worn by a Spider-Man doing Spider-Man stuff. Welcome to Joel Creates. Spider-Man's web shooter does 2 basic things: swing and stick. Now, most of the web shooters that I found on YouTube focused on the first, swing, and were basically a bunch of wrist-mounted grappling hooks. Really cool stuff, but I didn't try to make one of these. Of the web shooters that focused on the sticky part, I didn't find many, and what I did find tended to be really cool as well, but not very strong and lacking the ability to shoot at any real distance. For my sticky web shooter, I wanted it to be able to shoot at a decent distance, carry a lot of hot glue, and it needed to fit into a design that could be worn by someone moving like Spider-Man. The way that mine works is pretty simple. There are 2 tanks that go on your back. One tank holds pressurized CO2, and the other is a heated tank that holds hot glue. Coming out of the hot glue tank is a flexible heated line that runs down your arm and mounts to an insulated glove that has a wrist-mounted control system integrated into it. The tanks are held to your back by a hydration backpack that has straps that help to evenly distribute the weight across the back and sides. The web shooter is powered by 2 lightweight and powerful lithium polymer batteries. This whole system weighs just 12 pounds. The batteries alone weighed 12 pounds on the hot glue super soaker, and the web shooter holds 30% more super sticky hot glue. In order to test out the mobility of this system, I wore it to a karate studio for some combat testing. I basically forgot that it was there. It fits really well and moves in a really organic way. Now, I can only do so much, and I wanted to put the system on someone who could really push it to the limit. And that's where my friend Hunter came in, because he can do stuff that's even more Spider-Man-ish. See for yourself. Hunter did a great job pushing the system to its limits. I wish the whole process was as easy as just watching him fly through the air. But it wasn't. For example, I almost started a fire. Twice. And had to hunt down wiring gremlins to make sure that there wasn't a third fire. I had to redesign the tank junction after the connector got bent and started leaking. Between faulty valves and leaky joints, I spent a lot of time on those connections. The controller system was a long design process, and the glove was a mess of wires. But none of these things gave me anywhere near as much trouble as the glue. As I worked my way through the many different problems in the system, firing this thing was a lot like a box of chocolates. You never knew when it would just suck. Okay, so in my last video, I was able to stick an anvil and a toilet to the side of my car using the hot glue super soaker. And I asked you, what would you do with it? Seriously, Anakin, what would you do with it?
I would reattach the severed limbs of the Tusken Raiders that I murdered on Tatooine.
Okay, everyone else, if you wanted to test the strength of a web shooter, what would you do with it? Stick your answer in the comments below. Now, the first thing that I'd want to know is, Can it hold the weight of a person? Could it hold the weight of my sister? Could it hold the weight of a bank robber? All right, here's your motivation. You just pulled off the greatest heist in history. You knocked over the local 7-Eleven. You've got a giant bag of presumably money, either that or Cheetos. You would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for that rotten, no good, lousy neighborhood Spider-Man. Now, due to some user error, the first attempt, it didn't go so well. The second time, now that was a different story. Make sure you're in position and then shloop. All right. It actually friggin' worked. My sister and the wall ended up forming a very tight bond. Maybe a little too tight. Okay, so holding a robber against a wall is pretty impressive, but can it do something truly superhuman? Can hot glue fired from my web shooter hold the weight of a car? Can it hold my car? Let's find out. I needed to somehow glue my car to the thing that lifts cars, and that's why I decided to use these high-strength straps. Using just one tank of glue and no web shooter reloads, I was able to attach all 4 straps and even had extra left to spray just for good measure. Now, once the straps were glued on, my friend David and I centered the car in his lift, and then we tied the straps to the lifting arms. At this point, the only thing connecting the car to the lift is these straps, and the straps are only attached to the car with hot glue. Now, we weren't sure that it would work, so we took it slow.
It actually lifted it a little bit.
All right. That one's starting to peel off the door a little bit.
Still go?
Yep.
Still go?
Keep going. Keep going, keep going.
That's as far up as it'll go, but it's completely off the ground. That is awesome.
That's pretty, it's not even like making noise. That is just hot glue. There's nothing under here holding it up. It was insane. We couldn't believe it. Can you believe it?
I don't know how.
We then lowered the car and retied the straps so that I could lift it as high as possible. The glue seemed really solid, so I began a rigorous and scientific strength test. Kicking it empirically, and a lot. Towards the end, I may have gotten just a little bit cocky. Wow, at this point, I'm pretty sure that this is the strongest web shooter in the world. And is it the perfect prototype? No. The biggest change that I would make to make this thing really badass would be the transfer line. The one that I used gave me a lot of problems when it came to getting consistent distances. Sometimes it would be strong, and sometimes it would be weak, and I was only able to achieve a maximum distance of over 20 feet instead of over 30 like my last build. The stainless line that I used was inexpensive, but I never actually knew the maximum operating temperature that it could handle. And it has such a small inner diameter, which I know had to generate a fair amount of resistance. They actually make a high temperature, super flexible line that's significantly more expensive, but for the next version, that is what I would use, and I'm 90% sure that it would fix all my distance and consistency problems. There's no end to the ways that this could be improved and modified, or I could just abandon it and move on to the next project. What do you think I should do? I love building stuff, and I love making videos for you guys. And this was by far my most expensive video. So if you enjoyed this, then please consider liking and subscribing. It actually helps a ton. And if you want to do anything further, I do have a Patreon and a PayPal in the links below. Thank you so much for watching, and always remember, having all the gadgets, that doesn't make you a hero. Being able to punch through steel, or fly, or shoot lasers through a person, that makes you a hero. I'll see you next time.